What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing well. We are back on WUG, and we have the battle of the GTs over here. So we got the DBR9, made it a little cruise theme, looking nice in that artisan red. It it does not look like artisan red. It's just a darker red. If you don't know what artisan red is, it's Mazda's new color, which I've seen some in real life, and it's fire. Now, is it better than Soul Red Crystal? Like, it's hard because it's definitely classy and elegant. However, that Soul Red just hits different, especially when you get the car all cleaned up. Soul Red is definitely the best mass-produced red color there is, because that color could literally be put on supercars, and I'm pretty sure people probably have put it on their supercars, which is a testament of how good that color is. Minus the paint being really thin, so the paint chips off really easily, and it's just not great at all to maintain, but it's super nice when it's brand new. So, back to the race, and we're just absolutely dominating. It seems like the Alpha just had no chance whatsoever, which, to be honest, I really don't see dudes rocking the Alpha, especially even the best in class edition, which is, I really got to try out. One day, like, I'll make a video where I'll just show off all the best in class cars, because even when they were first released in OG, like, why were they considered best in class? I absolutely got no idea. And I remember there was that Renault Megane, which was a quote unquote best in class, but it was like a low S class car or something like that. It was really weird. Now, speaking of weird races, we got the old Tier 3 boat versus the Tier 1 IGC meta. And not even just the IGC meta, it was, I think, the second best Tier 1 car you could get back in OG, and that's a Sylvia. Now, the Sylvia, that was my starter car in WUG. My starter car in OG World was Eclipse because I just wanted to be different. But, man, that car was so terrible compared to the Sylvia, because the Sylvia is a nice driving car. In fact, all throughout, even from OG, the car has been tuned very nicely. In fact, it's been nerfed, because I think I remember reading some changelog in the Need for Speed World fandom page about this car. That car had Cosmic Nos, which, that would have been insane, because players wouldn't even know what that was, but that was nerfed pretty quickly, because the devs probably realized, oh shoot, one of our quote-unquote free cars is doing pretty well. And then the Scirocco became number one, with the Sylvia being second. But it was nice that at least the devs give you a fighting chance with that car. And speaking of fighting chances, yeah, I just blew the lead over there. Mans definitely has more track knowledge than I do. It's my first time on this track. Maybe not, I just don't remember. But, oh man, the GTR, it's definitely no longer the boat it used to be. I can't imagine how people felt when they bought this car. They spent so much time trying to grind for this car. And they're like, yes, I can finally get a tier 3 car. And you see a GTR, it's like, this game came out, what, 2010? So the GTR was still relatively new. And, you know, when you saw the GTR, you'd be like, oh man, that's sick. You know, a GTR, underrated car, like, well, not underrated, understated car. And, you know, we're just gonna tear up the streets. But nope, this car was awful. In fact, a lot of those Tier 3 cars were such a scam, man. Imagine trying to get this or the Corvette, or this, the Corvette, and the R8 4.2. Like, such nice looking cars. Because I can't imagine if you got the Corvette, you would have thought, oh yeah, this thing is the way it was back in Carbon, so OP. Or the R8, you know, it's a nice car. This and the GTR, like. And then once you buy one, it's just trash. So trash to the point that even the Tier 2 cars, like the Lotus Elise, crushed those cars, which is honestly insane. And I can't imagine the looks on people's faces when someone in Elise pulls up and they just beat you in the race because the cars are tuned so horribly. Now this thing is no longer a stats-wise top tier car. This is a B class car, which is definitely strange seeing an R35 in B class. And it's not bad. It's just, I say this about a lot of cars. It's good in terms of there's nothing terrible with it, but there's nothing exciting about it. Now the R35, this one is the only car GTR that I've driven. GTR R35, I'm meaning, that I've driven since the retunes. I actually never tried out the Spec V, and I should probably check that one out. And is there any more R35s on the WUG? I'm not too sure, but that does remind me, the Spec V, I do gotta check that car out and see what it's like driving that thing, because you know the devs retune all the cars, and I think I should definitely take some time to just drive cars and show off cars that I just never showed on the channel, and they've been retuned for like well over like 3+ years. But I think the Sylvia, it just crushed me. You know, I tried to do a little bit of last minute hurrahs, but yeah, it wasn't gonna work out. Now we got the Z4. And the Z4, this one is the rental this week, along with the... And I forgot what the other car was, to be honest. It was some lower class car. But this is an S2 Elite Z4 GT3. And let me tell you, this car feels very nice. Very, very nice. I'm going up against a Ariel, which is... Actually, this thing caps out at 862. The Ariel's at 904, and lack of track knowledge basically just cost me the entire race. Although I was never gonna keep up with the Ariel. That was just a fact. Like, come on, man. Your boy was never gonna keep up with the Ariel, because the Ariel is, for this track especially, the Z4 I feel like excels because it's a GT car. Yeah, the Ariel just does it so much better. It's actually nuts, man. It's wild. But it doesn't take away from this car. This car feels really nice. Although I'm not sure what class it's good for. I don't think it's great for S2 because it just feels too slow. Because this type of car, you might as well get a Sesto Elemento for like a more tech type of track. For S1, I'm actually curious to see if this thing's meta. And I think this thing can go down to A class too. This is a car I definitely gotta pick up again. I really love the Team Need for Speed edition. That's just such a cool looking car, and that was such a cool looking race car. And that one's memorable for me because when I first started World, I remember that thing being advertised along with the first year anniversary 959. I think the Z4 GT3, when I started playing, was the first meta car that I witnessed in terms of, I think this was the fastest car. I'm not too sure about that. However, this was at least one of the fastest cars. Either this, the 959, or the Murcielago. I'm not sure, but this thing did not take that jump very well. That's all good. We are literally straight cruising. This is a great cruise car. Definitely. Like, this thing should get a Treasure Hunter Edition along with the 3.0 CSL, because these are just nice cars to drive. I mean, the GT cars, really, really nice cars to drive. They just have that smooth characteristic that just make them very enjoyable. Despite it not having the power, like, come on, man. The Ariel is already done. That's just wild out there, man. However, this car, it just drives nice. It drives nice. Would I spend like 40 mil plus however much takes to fully max out this car? Probably not, unless you really like it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Peace.